one thing here because I'm giving this away. That's to everybody that subscribes to my YouTube channel. I'm going to give away two of these, and they're the remarkable. If you haven't seen it yet, you're probably going to see it on Instagram or Facebook, but I haven't opened mine yet. I just got it, but everybody, the friends that I've talked to are like, "Oh, I want one. This is amazing." And see if it focuses in. Yeah, and I got it. Comes with a pen. It's like an iPad, but just for writing. So here it is. It comes with this little stuff. I'm giving two away, so subscribe. I'll pick somebody when I get to 10K. Now, let's talk about why I have you here. There's a lot of competition going on in the real estate world right now, and I'm hearing a lot of agents, a lot of people in real estate complaining about how people don't call them back, other sales agents, about how there's so many offers. How do you get your offers accepted? And I want to touch on that really quick first. And it's really clear to see that the expectations we've set on other people is a challenge right now. And so I want to remind you that the only way you're ever going to be happy is if you realize that other people, those other people that you work with in this business that are out there in this world, are always going to be watching out for themselves and for their best interest. And that's okay because you do the same thing. So don't expect differently from other people. Once you accept that and you're like, you know what, I got this, I understand. Of course, they want to take care of themselves first. Then you start looking at it a little bit differently. So have that drilled in your mind first, because the thing is, when we start focusing on the wrong things, when we start focusing that energy on all of the negative things that can happen, that's when things start going astray. There was one thing that I heard Tony Robbins say the other day. He says, look, and I'm reading this one straight out. It says, no matter what happens in our life, what's wrong is always available. And so is what's right. So it's up to you to choose. Like, which one are you going to choose? It's easy to focus. There's three decisions that I was reading the other day. Three decisions that really shape your life. And then I'll go into the three ways to succeed really quick. It's not a long video. The first one I wrote out here it's a question, really. It's, what are you going to focus on? Which goes back to my expectations, right? What are you going to decide to focus on today? What is that? Are you going to focus on all the negative things that happen in your life? Are you going to focus on all the problems that you have and all the challenges that come up? What are you going to focus on today? Are you going to focus on your priorities? Are you going to focus on your family, on your business? What about your business? Are you going to focus on your health? When you start creating clarity around the answer to this, that's when you start succeeding. And number two here, what does it mean? What does this really mean to you when you start focusing on this one thing? And you're like, you know what? I'm going to focus on my business. I'm going to focus on prospecting more. Well, what does that mean? You have to drill down. And it goes back to clarity. Can you outline this for me? What are the actions you're going to take today? What does this look like 6 months from now? What does this look like a year from now? And how are you going to get there? What are the steps that are going to get you there? And then the third here on focus is, what are you going to do about it? Because I see a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and it never happens, right? Because there's no small action plan that gets you there. The key are the small action plans, really. Those small action plans is what makes this a reality. So this is what I always tell my kids, and it starts with my kids and then it reflects on me. I'm like, okay, you want to do this? Write down one little thing that you're going to do today to make it happen. My son wanted to start a YouTube channel, so I'm like, okay, go ahead and start it. And what are you going to do today to get there? So he's like, okay, I'm going to come up with a name. Great. Next, right? Well, now I'm going to come up with the idea of what I'm going to continually do. Awesome, right? And there was steps and steps and steps. All right, so now with that, now that you understand the focus, I want to get into the three things that you need to really drill down on that I wrote down here for you. And those are the three things that you're going to focus on to succeed. And the number one that all businesses really have a struggle with as they're growing is this. The number one is identifying who your client is. What does your client look like? Some people say, hey, if you want to identify the avatar, that perfect person of who you're going to work with, maybe even have one, two, three different ones. It identifies what they like, what they do, where they live, what they look like, right? All of those things. And that's important because it becomes your ideal client. It also tells me and it tells you who you're not going to work with, right? So think about who this ideal client is and where they hang out, right? This is how we identified, well, since we want to be in Malibu, where do they hang out? And how many of these are in on Google? How many of these are on Facebook? How many of these go to YouTube? And so it's important to identify that, because if you don't, you're just going to be running a business that's kind of very reactive. You don't take the time to outline these three things, you're going to end up not understanding where your business is heading. That's number one. Know who your client is. And number two, here I wrote this down too, create an irresistible offer, right? Or in some cases, people say a unique selling proposition. Right? Whatever this is, identify what that is for you. Take time to write it out. What differentiates you from everybody else? And why is that important to the consumer? Right? Is it your knowledge about the area? Is it some amazing piece of technology that you have that allows you to market more than everybody else? What sets you apart? And more importantly, why is it important to that consumer? Right, that has to be clear as well. And number three, like I said, it was super short, like I said, and this is an old adage you've heard over and over and over again, but it's easy. It's underpromise and overdeliver. Some people are like, that's stupid, Tristan. Why would you? That's so old. I'm like, not really. Outline everything that you normally deliver and outperform yourself when you're delivering that to your client. Right? There's a reason that continues to be the case over the years, because it's all about how you make people feel. And if they're always feeling like you're giving more to them, like you're coming to the table and you've just given everything and you've gone above and beyond, how does that make them feel? Because they're not going to be listening to what you're saying. It's all about, how did everything go? And how did that make them feel at the end? Right, so remember that those are the three things. And again, watch your expectations, because it's really your expectations that determine where you're focusing. So start focusing more on being appreciative, being grateful for those people around you, and focus on all the good things. That's all I got for you tonight. Have an awesome day.